Hello and welcome to another video by Pale Blue Thoughts. Today we are going to discuss the dreaded disease cancer and how India's very own pseudoscientific alternate medicine system called Ayurveda is supposed to cure it. While modern medicine is clear enough to say that it still doesn't completely know the reasons why some of the body's cells grow uncontrollably and spread to other parts of the body, alternate medicine practitioners have been blatantly advertising that they can cure cancer. So with the help of Dr. Abby and Libin, I set out to read what the great supposed father of surgery, Sushruta, had to say about cancer treatment in his magnum opus. What was revealed was a real eye-opener. I shall show you the methods that Sushruta says to employ. Take a look at it and then decide for yourself whether or not you would want to consider this form of a treatment should you or your near and dear ones contract cancer in future. Hi, I'm Anand and welcome to Pale Blue Thoughts, the channel which debunks pseudoscience and promotes scientific temper. And today I present to you the treatment of Arbudha by Sushruta. But before we go into details about how Ayurveda treats cancer, we will take a look at what cancer is and how much modern medicine knows about it. Cancer is a condition in which some part of the body's cells grow uncontrollably and spread to other parts of the body. Cancer can start almost anywhere in the human body, which is made up of trillions of cells. Normally, human cells grow and multiply through cell division to form new cells as the body needs them. When cells grow old or become damaged, they die and new cells take their place. Sometimes this orderly process breaks down and abnormal or damaged cells grow and multiply when they shouldn't. These cells may form tumors, which are lumps of tissue. Tumors can be cancerous or non-cancerous, which are also called as benign tumors. Cancerous tumors spread into or invade nearby tissues and can travel to distant places in the body to form new tumors through a process called metastasis. Many cancers form solid tumors, but cancers of the blood, such as leukemia, generally do not. Today, modern medicine has identified more than 100 types of cancer. Carcinoma are a type of cancer that forms in epithelial cells. Sarcomas are cancer that form in bone and soft tissues, including muscle, fat, blood vessels, lymph vessels, and fibrous tissue such as tendons and ligaments. Cancers that begin in the blood-forming tissue of the bone marrow are called leukemias. These cancers do not form solid tumors. Instead, large number of abnormal white blood cells build up in the blood and bone marrow, crowding out normal blood cells. Lymphoma is cancer that begins in lymphocytes or are white blood cells. Multiple myeloma is cancer that begins in plasma cells, another type of immune cell. Melanoma is cancer that begins in cells that makes melanin, so it affects areas such as skin and eye. Then there are brain and spinal cord tumors, germ cell tumors, neuroendocrine tumors, carcinoid tumors, and so on. Cancer is a genetic disease. That is, it is caused by changes to genes that control the way our cells function, especially how they grow and divide. It can occur because of errors that occur as cells divide. It can also be caused due to damage to DNA caused by harmful substances in the environment, such as chemicals in tobacco smoke, alcohol, substance abuse, and ultraviolet rays from the sun. The third cause is inherited from our parents. We have advanced so much in cancer detection and management in recent years, and we will continue to do so. But what about our age-old wisdom of rishis and munis? What do they have to tell us? In Ayurveda, cancer is considered under a single umbrella term, Arbudha, and they refer to tumors. An Ayurveda would always look for tumors or lumps of tissue, and there is no information about cancers that do not cause tumors like blood cancers in the ancient texts. I shall start with the best of the list first, and then we can go through the boring ones. Many people who are supporters of Ayurveda come up with the stance that the actual meaning of these verses have been mistranslated by me or by someone else. So this time I am going to put the Sanskrit and the English translation and the name of the translator. And these texts are translated by reputed Sanskrit scholars and not by some Westerner. These texts are also endorsed by the AYUSH ministry and the Indian systems of medicine. So if you have any issues in the translation, you can check with the person or the publishing house. Ayurveda says that tumors are caused as usual by the imbalance of the three doshas, vata, pitta and kapha. Oh, well, every disease is caused by the imbalance of that as per our rishis. Germ theory and other causes of diseases were unknown to them. Anyways, for tumors caused by kapha, Sushruta says to do bloodletting and use of emetics and purgatives. That is, induce vomiting and cleaning the stomach by inducing diarrhea. If you remember in my earlier videos on alternate medicine versus modern medicines, I had told you that the term allopathy was coined by Samuel Hahnemann, who invented homeopathy. He got sick and tired of the medical system that was prevalent at that time, which was called heroic medicine. And heroic medicine had treatment methods such as bloodletting and the use of purgatives and laxatives to try and cure illnesses. Now see this method and tell me which form of treatment should actually be called allopathy. This one or the modern medical system which uses scientific principles for treatment of diseases. The next time you hear someone use the word allopathy for modern medicine or science-based or evidence-based medicine, please correct them. If they want to call something allopathy, let them call Ayurveda that, because they are the ones who continue to use this form of treatment even today. Okay, so after all this torture comes the actual medicine. And what is it made of? Excreta of dove and pigeon and some leaves and plants and roots mixed with bovine micturate or cow urine, which should be applied on the tumor. How scientific, isn't it? And hey, this is not the end. Not by any means. Now, a paste made of meat and curd is applied. Sounds harmless, right? But why do you need to do it? Because you want flies and worms to swarm into it and eat the tumor away. Shabash! And once the worms have had their fill, the rest of the tumor should be scraped and burnt with fire or kept encircled with sheets of metals. Were they treating live humans or dead bodies those days, I wonder? Remember, there was no anesthesia in those days, so imagine the torture people would have gone through. People often wrongly attribute Sushruta as the father of surgery, and here is the surgical methods employed by the great father. And since they had not heard of antibiotics, they used decoctions of leaves to clean the wound. What a simple and effective and scientific method to sterilize, right? Shh! Listen to your father and don't question him. So let's see the definition of tumors in Ayurveda. Okay, you may have heard the term Arbudha. In English, we call it blood cancer or leukemia. What is blood cancer in Ayurveda? Not the abnormal rise of blood cells, but tumors caused by blood. It is incurable as per Ayurveda and leads to anemia. Of course, what do you expect after all that bloodletting? And where does blood cause tumors? Do you know that you could get cancer if you get into a fist fight or if you eat too much meat? Well, yes. According to Sushruta, you would. Don't believe me? Well, read for yourself. It also says that all malignant tumors do not form pus. Well, today we know better. If you suffer from cervical lymphodentitis, which is the enlargement of lymph nodes, and you went to Sushruta, he would show you the way out of the door. I don't say this. He has written it in his book. But does that stop companies from exploiting poor people suffering from the diseases today? No, look at this ad. Now, are they following the guidelines or are they just making things up? You decide. If your tumor is benign, you are in for a treat. Sushruta recommends this as a treatment method for granthi, which are benign tumors. Drink a lot of oil, ghee and muscle fat. How nice. For granthi caused by pitta dosha, you need to drain the blood using leeches and then wash the tumor with milk and water. Also see the wonderful surgical techniques employed by the great Sushruta. This continues even for treatment of tumors which are of kapha origin. Now coming to the treatment of cervical lymphodentitis, Sushruta mentions these treatments in his book, but just a while ago we saw some companies selling some other medicines for the same disease. Now why would someone do that? Are they rejecting Sushruta too? Do they feel that his system won't work? Or can you make up your own stuff in Ayurveda? You tell me. Now here are some more surgical methods that the great father employed. Now here is something strange. Cervical lymphadenitis is something that affects the throat and head as the lymph nodes are situated there. But this surgical procedure here mentions operating the leg. Now why would someone do that? I'm so confused. Does any of you have an answer? Please let me know if there is something seriously wrong here. Now as I read further down the text, it all becomes very clear suddenly. So it is true that you need to do a surgery on the leg if you had a problem on the neck. And then I see this. The surgery is done on the wrist this time for the same issue of the neck. And the healing method is just as strange. Take some ash of the feathers of peacock, cock, skin of iguana, snake and tortoise and mix it with some oil and apply it to the wound. No wonder the average lifespan of Indians were under 25 before modern medicine came to India. How can I end this video before showing what the treatment method is for treating malignant cancer? And that is where the treatment methods of employing maggots to eat away tumors appear in the text. Now let me use my astrological skills to predict some of the comments that would come, that all these have been wrongly translated. Let me repeat, this is taken from the government approved syllabus of BAMS and have been translated by eminent scholars of Sanskrit. Next one, they have been written by people when they didn't have the latest technologies and information. Agreed. But why are we still gloating over these today? And don't you also say that rishis and munis in those days had immense knowledge that they got through revelation? To those people who come with anecdotal evidence that Ayurveda cured me of this disease or that disease, please, anecdotes are just data, not evidence. Fold it nicely into 4 and put it back into your pocket. Next would be that such treatments are no longer followed in today's world. Well, then I have these counter questions. If these outdated methods are not followed, why are these textbooks still taught to students in BAMS courses even to this day? These are taken from the prescribed textbooks that hapless students who choose this as a career end up memorizing and writing it in exams even today to pass them. And if these are outdated, why are we still carrying Sushruta on our heads and priding ourselves as he is the father of surgery? If such methods are wrong, then are you ready to say that Sushruta wrote the wrong things in his book? And how would you distinguish between the right he has written and the wrongs? Do we just use our logic? If so, I would reject all of it and throw the book into the nearest dustbin. How long would we carry on gloating over a false pride in our ancient texts? And my final question to my viewers is, considering that these are what is written in the ancient texts of Ayurveda, how confident are you in going to an Ayurved in case you get a disease? I bet 99% of people who believe in this form of treatment methods do not have a clue about what is written in these books. Just like the religious texts, they tend to blindly believe what has been shown as good by the propagators of these systems. Take a moment to open the ancient texts and read them, and I bet you will reject them too. I think I have said enough today. So let me take leave in the hope that I have been able to open the eyes of at least a few people and to make them understand that Ayurveda is nothing but a pseudoscience. I shall be back with another interesting topic. Until then, it's bye-bye from Pale Blue Thoughts.